Are you feeling in a place where you feel maybe a little bit helpless, maybe a little bit run down, a little bit exhausted? You're always trying to fight things and things don't seem to be going your way, and maybe you're lacking a little bit of confidence as a result. Well, today I'm going to talk about how to program yourself to win and for more confidence. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Before we dive into that, I just wanted to mention that if you want to keep up to date with all the latest episodes and make sure you're in the loop, never miss any, then all you got to do is click in the show notes below and you can subscribe to our free weekly newsletter. So my story around, what's my background about programming myself? Well, one thing I learned from one of my mentors is we're programmed, like whether we choose to be or not. What we can choose is how we want to be programmed, whether that's good or bad. The challenge is, and I've certainly found this in my life, that sometimes we're programmed in a way that doesn't necessarily serve us. And when I say programmed, I mean in a way that our automatic behaviors sometimes don't serve us. Maybe we self-sabotage. So I believe we've all got a choice. Now, it may be a bit of hard work to sometimes reprogram ourselves, but is it worth it if you want to get to where you want to in life? I believe so. Right. So for me, I found myself self-sabotaging in money. Right. I would earn some, like whether it was a promotion in my career or even the start of my business. And it was like, I was earning more, and then I'd find a way to spend more of it. And I know I'm not alone in this one. People are like, I find more ways to spend money when I make more money, right? We're self-sabotaging because we're programmed that somehow we don't deserve that amount of money. So therefore, we're trying to get it down to what it was, right? And that may not serve us if you want to be a millionaire. But yet, there's some people who just can't help and go out and make money effortlessly. Yet there may be other areas of their life they're challenged with. Maybe, maybe not. Um, for me, I found myself resorting. I'm not sure that's the word I'm looking for. Naturally going towards attacking myself, like saying horrible things for many, many years. And it's not like I never ever say nothing negative to myself now, now and then. I'm a human being. So now and then the odd negative self-talk, the inner critic can pop up. Not as frequent as it used to be. I used to be programmed to just attack myself when anything went wrong, right? And there's been some good things for me. Like I programmed myself that I've I've been able to create podcasts. I believe I'm a good writer. I just went out and wrote, and I realized been programmed to be creative, and that's a good thing because I want to be that. So therefore, I wrote 7 books because I believed I could write and I had a story to tell. Right. So when you look at it, don't think you're being programmed negatively in every area. There's some areas that maybe you're programmed in the right way. Now we're going to talk about how you can program yourself. Now, like I said, you don't have a choice whether you're going to be programmed, as one of my mentors says. You can choose how you'll be programmed, though. And programming is often from our younger years, particularly in the first 7 years. And it's also from the people around us, and it's from the information we're taking in. If you're listening to something negative in the background, that's not harmless. That is going into your mind. That's why so many of my mentors are like, stay away from the news at all costs. Why? Because it's like creating fear into you. It's creating fear and doubt into yourself, right? If you're consuming that regularly. If you're scrolling someone's page on social media, and social media is something I'm still working through because I go on it quite a lot, right? But I tend to follow a lot of positive things, right? And I post a lot as well. So it's good. I give value in that way. You can use it as a tool. Depends how you use it, but it can program you in a negative way as well. Now, I want to ask you this. How does it help you when you just find yourself in the same patterns again and again and you try willpower to push through it? Well, if you're anything like me, willpower doesn't work when you're not programmed in the right way. You can do a little bit of a good behavior for a short period. Yet if you're not aware that you're programmed negatively in an area, it's always going to be short-lived, that good behavior. So we're going to talk about how you can program yourself so you're naturally more confident and you're setting yourself up to win. So the first thing to ask yourself is, what are you going towards? What do you want? The classic question I always ask, yet I find I've not, so many times in my life, I've not done it. And so many people I've talked to just don't ask themselves this. What do you want? Not what do you not want, not like, I don't want to be miserable, I don't want to be in this miserable job, I don't want to be in this relationship, I don't want to feel sad. That's not saying what you want, that's saying what you don't want. So what do you want? First of all, that's a key question. And I want to say this again, some points I will reiterate on my podcast and keep it super simple. Why? Because when we make things complicated, people won't do it. Yet if you're not doing the simple stuff and you're expecting good results, well, you're in dreamland because you've actually got to do something about it. So asking yourself what you want regularly, if you're not doing this already, right? I keep reiterating this point. Okay. Ask yourself what you want. And I like to ask myself, what do I want in my physical health, my emotional health, or my emotions, my spiritual, as in I consider that my growth and my contribution. What do I want in my relationships, all kinds of relationships? What do I want in my finance, slash business, slash sales, right? I group those together. You might want to separate them. It's up to you. But what do I want in those 5 areas, right? And then when I've got a direction, again, you need direction. It's about taking an audit. Am I doing things to program my, because you can program yourself, or you can put yourself in the right environment, the right information to program yourself for success. Take an audit in towards the things you want, right? So are you, like, for example, say you want to be in really good shape and maybe you're a few pounds over what you want to be, or maybe you haven't got the energy you want, right? And then you audit and you say, am I programming myself to win here? Maybe you've tried like a short-term diet, a short-term exercise plan. Great. And it's not lasted. Look at how you're programming yourself, though. Look at the people around you. Are they going to give you that natural urge to go to the gym and eat healthy, or are they not? Are you listening to things that are going to encourage you? Or are you listening to things that are about negative? It's like promoting like fast food. And how are you talking to yourself? What are the words you're saying to yourself, and what are you visualizing? And do this in all areas, by the way, because then you might start thinking, the people around me actually aren't healthy. They eat junk food a lot. None of them go to the gym. Well, maybe it's time to find a near peer group. But that doesn't mean kicking all people out of your life. Of course not. It just means trying to find people who are going to get you inspired so that you can take more positive action, right? So look at, are you programming yourself for success? Because if you're surrounded by people who are eating bad, you're like not listening to any like positive things, you're not saying good, you're calling yourself things like overweight or bad labels, well, you're programming yourself negatively, and any short-term amount of exercise is not going to work because you're going to resort back to your programming. So that's an example of that one. Um, Maybe emotional. It's like you want to feel happy all the time. And then you audit and you look and you think, oh, well, I'm surrounded by people who are quite pessimistic about life. I'm always listening. Maybe I listen to the media too much. Maybe I look at too much the negative side of social media. Well, you're programming yourself, so you're never going to last on a good emotion. Like, don't get me wrong, you can never be, I don't believe you can be 100% happy, confident, feeling amazing all the time, but you want to be feeling that the majority of the time, right? If you're any human any human I've talked to, most of us want to feel great the majority of the time. But if you've got those things, maybe it's not. So start auditing your areas in your life. Like, are you programming yourself in the right way towards where you want to go? The third point, do something every day to program yourself in the right way. Again, looking at those directions. What could you do with your emotions, for example? You could be listening to this podcast every single day, and that's why I create 7 a week. You don't have to, though. Like, I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much. You could be listening to an audiobook or something else that inspires you, that makes you feel good. What can you do to program yourself to get the benefits? Maybe it's health. Maybe you listen to like a health podcast, or maybe you watch a YouTube video of some like healthy recipes or something every day. Maybe you go to join like a running club where they're like all really healthy, so you're surrounded by people who are like got this good way of living, right? Or this healthy way of living. Maybe in finances or something, you start like listening to like a millionaire or a billionaire, and you like every single day you listen to their ideas, their beliefs. And yeah, like I don't believe anyone could be a millionaire or billionaire overnight personally. Now some people can get there quicker than others, of course. Yeah, if you're listening to someone who's really, really, really good with money, making money, looking after money, all those kind of things, what do you think your chances are going to be rather than listening to someone who's broke, right? Probably better if you listen to the person who's good with money, right? So what could you do every day towards where you want to go? And then the fourth one, what can you remove or reduce that's not programming you in the right way? So the classic one, the news. How can you get rid of that altogether? Because that's not programming you for living in a loving and joyful state. That's just programming you for fear. Let's be honest about it, right? Or maybe you've got like someone who just really pulls you down all the time. How can you remove them from your life? And there may be some things that are just like hard to remove completely. So maybe you want to reduce them down a little bit, right? Maybe, there's some people, maybe it's your loving family, and sometimes you don't always get the positive vibes. Well, maybe you can't kick them out of your life altogether, but maybe you could just allocate more time to spending time with people who make you feel good a little bit more, right? So the fourth one is, how can you remove and or reduce things that are negatively programming you? Okay, I've got final point I want to share with you. Just before we go on to that, though, I just want to mention again that if you want to keep up to date with all the latest episodes, never miss any, and get a free weekly confidence tip, all you got to do is sign up to our free weekly newsletter, linked in the show notes below. My bonus point that I wanted to share with you is one of my favorite things that I've just started being practitioner training in, and it's somatic breath work. You may have heard me talk about this before. Somatic breath work is when you can really breathe into the body and go a lot deeper than the conscious thoughts that you're consciously aware of every day. This is going into stored emotions, trauma, all these kind of things. And trauma doesn't mean it can obviously mean something very severe and like painful that happened, or some kind of abuse, of course, in the body. It can be like moments of maybe you lost a job, which is pretty, I thought that's pretty traumatic. Maybe you finished a relationship, maybe you got into a bit of debt. All these kind of things are built in our body, are build up in our body. If we don't acknowledge them or allow ourselves to feel them and release them, they can create some bad programming for us as well. And I've been there, certainly, right? So I would suggest trying somatic breathwork, because what that'll do is really allow you to get into some of those trapped things that are really holding you back in the body a little bit more. And I would recommend following somatic breathwork. They're great. And when I finish my practitioner training, which will be somewhere between 12 and 16 weeks from this episode coming out, I will also be available to do like one-off or multiple sessions of somatic breath work. So watch this space for that one as well. So I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives with being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.